Hello everyone. Today we'll be looking at how to navigate and utilize individual client reports in the HUR SmartTouch system. To learn about general facility-wide reports, please see the training session named Dashboard and Facility Reports. To view individual client reports, you need to be logged into the SmartTouch system as a general supervisor, a supervisor, or a trainer. Class instructors do not have access to these reports. After you are logged in, you will first need to go to the Clients tab and select the client whose reports you wish to see. These same reports are generated for employees that are utilizing the HUR strength machines. Once you are in the client's profile, select Client Reports on the left. On the right side of the screen, you should see 6 different reports to choose from. If you do not see any reports here, it is because your client has not yet logged in and used the HUR strength machines. The first report we will look at is the Overview report. This report compares 2 visits, the first and last by default, and gives you an overall increase or decrease of strength by muscle groups: upper, core, and lower body. If a person has more than one training program, you can choose which one as well as different dates to compare, then click the filter button. Here, you see the total average increase for upper body, and here the resistance increase for each machine. Similarly, you see the same for the lower body. This particular client has no information for core strength. It should be noted here that if the first date you choose has core data, but the second day does not, there is nothing to compare and the information will be blank, as you see here. Below this is a list of logged visits along with the duration of the visit. Clicking on the individual visits will show you much more detailed information about the visits: sets, loads, reps, power, etc. This report can be printed or saved as a PDF by clicking here. The next client report is the Attendance report. This gives you detailed information about the client's usage on the HUR machines. This report allows you to choose a date range based on actual visits. By default, the range goes from your first visit to your last visit. You can change these by selecting a different date, then selecting the filter button. Below this, you can see the number of visits per month. Hovering over the bars will give you more details. Just under this is visits by hour, which shows you the times of day that the client works out. There is also a color-coded key to differentiate between the days. On the right, you can see the total number of visits, time spent on the machines, the total number of exercises on the various machines, as well as how they performed. Below this, if the class feature is being utilized, you will see days marked that the client participated in classes. I will cover classes in another training session. Finally, as with the previous report, you can print or save this report as a PDF. Now let's look at the Visit Comparison report. This report allows you to compare your progress on the individual strength machines by comparing 2 visits. First, you will select a training program if the client has more than one. By default, the first visit is just that, your very first visit. The second visit is your last visit. If you wish to choose different dates, select one from the drop-down list, then click Filter. Below this, you will see comparative information for each machine based on the dates chosen. You can hover over the bars to get exact numbers or look below at the numerical data. This column shows the machine's activities. This section compares the maximum load of each activity. You can click the headers above each section to see its definition. Max load is the highest load among the sets performed. The next section is work indicator, which is the max load times the number of repetitions. In other words, if a person does 10 repetitions of 10 pounds, the work indicator would be 100. Lastly, SmartTouch begins to estimate what the client's 1 rep max is based on the loads and repetitions they are doing using the Brzezicki formula seen here. Also, if you want to see each of these sections in the bar graph form above, just choose the option from the drop-down menu here. This particular report can be exported as a CSV file, and you can print or save it as a PDF. Next, we will look at the exercise progress report. This report gives you more detailed information about the client's progress for each machine over time. At the top, again, you will choose the client's training program. You can choose a date range based on visits. By default, it shows the first and last visit. Next, you can select machines individually or choose to view all, then click the filter button. If you choose all of your machines and have lots of visits, it may take a few seconds for the system to gather the data. Below this, you will see an image of the first activity selected. Beside this, you can see the largest load used for that activity, the smallest load, likely the load the client started with, the average number of reps per visit, and the usual number of sets performed. Just under this, there are several line graphs that show points for each visit. You can hover over each point to see that day's data. Here, you see the load in green and repetitions in blue. Here you see the work indicator. And here, the estimated 1 rep max, both of which we discussed in the previous report. The last graph shows heart rate, but this is only available on select HUR machines. Below this, you will see the same information for all the machines you selected. You can view this data in line graph form as you see here, or in numerical form, or both. Just scroll back up and select from the 2 icons seen here. This one displays the line graphs, and this one shows the numerical data, which will appear below the graphs if you have both selected. Finally, this report can be printed or saved as a PDF. The statistics report is pretty simple and gives you a quick overview of the client's performance on machines. Exercise progress shows here that the client fully performs their training program 93% of the time. 5% of the time they skip a machine, roughly 1.5% of the time they underperform, and a little less than 1% they overperform. Visits by training program shows you the percentage of time the client spends on different training programs if they have more than one. Most overperformed shows the machines the client most overperforms on. Most not performed shows you which machines the client skips the most. Most underperformed shows machines where the client may have reduced the resistance level or not finished their reps. The last client report is the 1 rep max report. As discussed previously, the software will begin to estimate the client's 1 rep max for each of the activities on the machine, but this is based on the work they are doing, resistance, reps, and the Brzezicki formula. That being said, If you were creating a training template based on a percentage of a client's true 1 rep max, and you work that out with the client, you can manually enter the 1 rep max value here by selecting the machine's activity and adding it. Thank you for watching this training session on individual client reports for the HUR SmartTouch system. I hope this has been helpful, and I wish you and your clients the absolute best.